Virgo, I need you to stop moving just for a minute. I need you to stop scrolling with your thumb, stop planning your grocery list in the back of your mind, stop rehearsing the conversation you are going to have later with someone who does not deserve the amount of rent free space they occupy in your head. I need you to sit down, or if you are already sitting, I need you to feel the weight of your own body in the chair. I need you to breathe in a way that reaches your stomach, not just your chest. Because what I am about to say to you is not a prediction, it is not a prophecy, it is not a storm warning or a cosmic announcement or a message channeled from a crystal. It is a fact, a plain, human, stubborn, inconvenient fact that you have been stepping over every single day like it was a piece of mail that did not have your name on it. But it does have your name on it, Virgo. It has your name written all over it in ink you have been pretending not to recognize. Someone loves you. Someone who is already in your life, already in your orbit, already breathing the same air as you on a regular basis, loves you so much it is actually altering the chemistry of their body. And you have no idea. None. You are walking around completely blind to it, and the tragedy is not that they are suffering in silence. The tragedy is that you have convinced yourself that the love you receive must always be small, conditional, or easily explained away. You have normalized devotion to the point where you cannot see it when it is staring at you across a dinner table, holding your coffee, or sending you a text at 11 at night just to make sure you got home safe. If you are feeling something cold run down your spine right now, if your throat is tightening in that specific way it does when truth is knocking on a door you have deadbolted, I need you to stay with me. Do not run. Do not start arguing with me in your head about how I could not possibly know your life. I know enough. I know you. And if you can feel this in your chest, if you know exactly who I am talking about, or if you are terrified that you might hit that like button, not for me, for the part of you that is finally ready to stop playing dumb about your own heart. Subscribe if this space has ever held up a mirror that showed you something you needed to see. And if you want to, drop the word truth in the comments. Not as a ritual, just as an exhale. Just as proof to yourself that you are still here, still listening, and still brave enough to look at something that might break your heart open in the best possible way. Okay? Let us begin. And I am going to begin by telling you something you are not going to want to hear. You are emotionally lazy when it comes to receiving love, not giving it. You are a master at giving. You give with both hands, with your calendar, with your energy, with your impeccable memory for other people's needs. You give until you are empty, and then you give from the hollow space where the emptiness lives. But receiving makes you uncomfortable. Receiving makes you suspicious. When someone is consistently kind to you, your first thought is not, oh, they love me. Your first thought is, what do they want? Or what did I do to earn this? Or they are just being nice because they are a nice person. You deflect, you minimize, you turn grand gestures into coincidences and small, consistent devotions into mere manners. And because of this habit, this reflex, this protective tick you developed somewhere in your past when love was either withdrawn or weaponized, you have completely missed the person who has been loving you with a depth that would make most romantic poets weep with envy. Let me tell you who they are. Not their name. I do not have their name, but I have their energy, and your heart is going to know it the second I describe it. This is someone who is already in your daily life or your weekly rhythm. They are not a stranger across a crowded room. They are not a DM from someone you have never met. They are someone who has a legitimate, logical reason to be near you. Maybe they are a colleague who sits close enough to hear your sighs. Maybe they are a friend who has been in your circle for years, someone you have categorized as safe, as platonic, as not your type, as just someone who gets you. Maybe they are a neighbor. Maybe they are someone you share a hobby with, a gym with, a coffee shop with. Maybe they are even someone you once considered romantically and then dismissed because the timing was wrong or because they did not fit the image you had in your head of what your person should look like. And because they did not arrive with fireworks, because they did not sweep you off your feet or make you dizzy with chase energy, you filed them away under reliable, under comfortable, under does not count. But Virgo, they count. They count more than anyone has ever counted. And the reason you cannot see it is because their love does not look like the love you have been trained to want. It does not look like chaos. It does not look like obsession. It does not look like jealousy or grand declarations or someone blowing up your phone at 2 a.m. because they cannot live without you. Their love looks like presence. It looks like them being the one person who actually listens when you speak, not just waiting for their turn to talk, but listening the way you listen to music with their whole attention. It looks like them remembering that you do not like cilantro, that you prefer the window seat, that you get cold in rooms where other people are fine, that you had a difficult conversation with your sister 3 weeks ago and they asked about it the next day without you bringing it up. It looks like them defending your name when you are not in the room. It looks like them adjusting their own schedule to match yours without making a big deal about it. It looks like them looking at you when you are not looking. And in that look is a whole language you have been illiterate in because no one ever taught you that devotion can be quiet. I need you to understand the magnitude of what I am describing. This person is not just fond of you. They are not just attracted to you. They are in love with you in a way that has rewired their entire system. When you enter a room, their body knows it before their eyes find you. Their heart rate changes, not in a dramatic, cinematic way, in a subtle biological way. Their breathing shifts. Their posture unlocks. They become more themselves when you are near, and they hate how obvious they think they are being. But to you, Virgo, they are invisible. To you, they are just being them. Because you have been taught that if love is not performative, if it is not announced with flowers and public declarations and a sense of urgency that borders on panic, then it is probably just friendship. You have been taught that the people who love you quietly are just nice, while the people who love you loudly are the ones who matter. And that is the lie that has kept you starving. Let me paint you a picture of what this person has actually been doing, and I want you to check your memory as I speak. I want you to scan the last month of your life and see if any of these moments ring a bell. They send you messages that seem casual but are actually carefully timed, not because they are manipulative, but because they have learned your rhythms. They know when you are likely to be stressed, and they appear with exactly the right meme, the right article, the right question, or the right silence. They know when you have had a bad day because they can read your energy from 100 yards away, and they find a way to be near you without crowding you. They bring you things, small things. A coffee that is exactly how you like it. A snack they picked up because it reminded them of a conversation you had 6 months ago. A book they finished and thought of you before anyone else. They do these things so casually, so seamlessly, that you have accepted them as the texture of your life rather than as evidence of a heart that is constantly, relentlessly oriented toward your well being. And here is the part that is going to sting a little. They have been waiting for you to notice, not in a passive, victimy way, but in the way that someone who loves deeply always waits. They have been leaving breadcrumbs, Virgo, not because they are playing games, but because they are terrified. They are terrified that if they say it outright, if they lay their heart on the table with all its blood and muscle exposed, you will look at it the way you look at most things that are offered to you for free, with suspicion, with the need to analyze it for flaws, with the compulsion to give it back, polished and improved, because receiving feels like debt to you. They have watched you. They have seen how you react to overt affection. They have seen you deflect compliments, change the subject when things get too tender, or worse, match their vulnerability with logic until the moment dies of exposure. And so they have chosen the only strategy their heart could bear. They have chosen to love you in a language so consistent, so daily, so woven into the fabric of ordinary life that you would have to be completely blind to miss it, and you have been. You have been completely blind. But it is worse than blindness, Virgo, because there is a part of you, a very old, very wounded part, that sees exactly what is happening and actively discredits it. That part of you says they are just a good friend. That part says they are like this with everyone. That part says if they really loved me, they would have said something by now. That part says I am not the kind of person someone loves this much. And that last one, Virgo, that is the wound I need to talk to. That is the infected splinter that has been poisoning your ability to receive. Somewhere along the line, someone taught you that love is earned through suffering. Someone taught you that you have to be useful to be wanted. Someone taught you that your value is in what you do, not in who you are. And so when this person loves you simply for existing, simply for the way your mind works, simply for the sound of your laugh and the way you care for people and even the way you overthink, you cannot accept it. It does not fit your equation. It does not match the formula you have been running since childhood, which says that affection must be proportional to sacrifice. And because their love asks nothing of you, because it does not demand that you perform or prove or earn, your brain files it under probably not real. I am going to tell you a secret now, and I want you to hold it like a stone in your mouth until it dissolves. The people who love you the most are often the ones you overlook because their love does not trigger your trauma. Your trauma is used to abandonment, to inconsistency, to having to work for crumbs. Your trauma is comfortable with hot and cold, with push and pull, with people who keep you guessing because that guessing feels like the chemistry you have mistaken for passion. But consistent love, reliable love, love that shows up on a Tuesday with soup when you are sick and remembers your doctor's appointment and sends you a song because the lyrics made them think of your eyes. That love feels boring to your trauma. It feels too easy. It feels like there must be a catch. And so your trauma convinces you to keep looking past this person toward the horizon where someone more dramatic, more elusive, more wounded in a way that matches your own is supposedly waiting. Meanwhile, the real thing is sitting right next to you, handing you a napkin, and you are calling it friendship. Let me describe what this person actually feels when they look at you, because I need you to hear it until it breaks through your armor. When they look at you, they do not see a project. They do not see someone who needs fixing. They do not see your flaws as items on a checklist they will tolerate in exchange for your good qualities. They see you the way you see a garden you have tended for years. They know where the soil is thin. They know which plants need more shade. They know where the weeds grow fastest. But they do not see a problem to be solved. They see a living thing they are honored to witness. They love your overthinking because to them it is evidence of a mind that refuses to be careless. They love your need for order because to them it is evidence of a heart that was once chaotic and chose clarity. They love your caution because they understand it is not coldness, it is wisdom earned the hard way. They love even the parts of you that you hide from everyone else, the parts that are messy and doubtful and sometimes cruel to yourself, because those parts make you human, and they do not want a statue. They want you. All of you, the version of you that wakes up puffy eyed and anxious, the version of you that gets sharp when you are scared, the version of you that forgets to text back because you are overwhelmed. They want that person. They have already chosen that person. And they are waiting with a patience that should qualify them for sainthood, for you to finally look up and see them standing there with their arms full of everything you have been praying for. And Virgo, they are suffering, not in a way that is your fault, not in a way that demands you rescue them, but in the quiet, dignified way of someone who is holding a love too big for the container they have been given. Every time you talk about your dating life, every time you mention someone else with that wistful tone in your voice, every time you describe your ideal partner using adjectives that they embody perfectly, but you somehow do not associate with them, it lands. It lands like a small stone dropped into a still pond. They do not flinch outwardly, they are too composed for that. But inside, something ripples. They go home and they sit with it. They do not blame you. They blame themselves for not being brave enough to speak. They blame themselves for not being flashy enough to catch your eye. They blame themselves for loving you in a language that you have not yet learned to read. And they make a decision over and over again to keep loving you anyway, to keep showing up, to keep being the person who is there. Because the alternative, walking away from you, feels like amputating a limb they need to walk. I want you to think about the last time you were truly vulnerable with someone, the last time you cried in front of another person or admitted you were scared or showed a part of yourself that was not polished, who was there, not who was in the room, who was actually there, who held the space without trying to fix you, who did not look away, who made you feel in that terrible, tender moment that you were still worthy of love even when you were not performing. I am willing to bet, Virgo, that it was this person. I am willing to bet that when your world cracked open, they did not ask what you were going to do about it. They just sat in the crack with you. They brought you tea. They let you talk in circles. They did not offer solutions because they knew you did not need a solution. You needed a witness. And they witnessed you. They have been witnessing you for longer than you know. They have a whole museum in their mind of moments when you were beautiful and did not know it. The way you tuck your hair behind your ear when you are concentrating. The way your voice softens when you talk about something you love. The way you always make sure everyone else is okay before you check in with yourself. They have been collecting these moments like precious stones, and they have never shown you their collection because they are afraid you will laugh, or worse, you will look at them with pity and say, I had no idea, followed by the gentle but devastating, but I do not feel that way about you. That fear, Virgo, that fear of your rejection is the only thing keeping them silent. It is not lack of feeling. It is an abundance of feeling so intense that it has become paralyzing. They have seen you reject people before. They have seen your standards, which are high and exacting and sometimes impossible because you use them to protect yourself. They have seen you intellectualize your way out of emotional connections because feeling things makes you feel out of control. And they do not want to be another entry in your ledger of people who tried and failed. They would rather be your friend forever than be your lover for a month and then be nothing. So they have chosen the long game. They have chosen to love you in a way that keeps them close to you, even if it keeps them at arm's length. And that choice, Virgo, that daily choice to stay near you despite the cost, is the most radical act of love you will ever encounter in your life. It is more radical than any proposal, any grand gesture, any public declaration, because it is love that has surrendered its own satisfaction for the chance to keep you safe. It is love that has agreed to be invisible so that it does not become a burden. It is love that says, I would rather have you in my life as a friend than not have you at all, even though every fiber of my being is screaming for more. And now, here's the truth that needs to be told. You need to stop looking for love in the places that hurt you. You need to stop equating longing with destiny. You need to stop chasing people who keep you on red, who only want you when it is convenient, who love you in bursts and then disappear, leaving you to metabolize their absence like a poison. That is not love. That is addiction. That is your nervous system confusing anxiety for attraction, and you have been addicted to it for so long that when real love shows up, calm and warm and steady, you call it boring. You call it friendship, you call it nice but not enough, and in doing so, you have made a mockery of the one heart that has actually been loyal to you. I am not saying you owe this person anything. You do not owe them a relationship just because they love you. Love is not a contract that demands reciprocation, but you do owe them the truth of your own heart. You owe them the respect of actually seeing them. You owe them the dignity of no longer treating their devotion like furniture, like something that is just there because it has always been there and therefore does not require acknowledgement. And more importantly, Virgo, you owe yourself the experience of being loved by someone who is not going to leave. You owe yourself the experience of being chosen by someone whose love does not come with an expiration date or a hidden clause. You have been so busy protecting yourself from the kind of love that abandons, that you have built a fortress that also keeps out the kind of love that stays. And this person, this quiet, constant, devastatingly sincere person, they have been standing outside that fortress with no weapons, no ladder, no strategy except patience. They have been waiting for you to lower the drawbridge, and they will keep waiting. But I am here to tell you that drawbridges do not lower themselves. You have to decide. You have to choose to see what has been in front of you. You have to choose to believe that you are worthy of a love that does not punish you. So, what do you do now? Do you march up to them and declare your feelings? Maybe, if that is true, if you feel it, if you look at everything I have said and your heart is suddenly roaring, yes, yes, it is them. It has always been them. I was just too scared to let it be real. Then, yes, tell them. Do not wait. Do not plan the perfect moment. Do not script it. Just tell them. Because they have been waiting for that signal, like a plant waits for rain in a drought, and the moment you give it, they will bloom in ways that will astonish you. But maybe that is not where you are. Maybe you do not feel romantic love for them. Maybe you feel gratitude or affection or a deep platonic bond that you do not want to complicate. That is okay too. But even then, Virgo, you need to tell them the truth. You need to tell them that you see them, that you see what they have been doing, that you see the cost of their devotion, and that you honor it even if you cannot match it in the way they might wish. You need to look them in the eye and say, I know how much you care about me. And I am sorry that I have been too blind or too wounded or too distracted to see it. Thank you for loving me, even when I did not make it easy. That conversation, however difficult, is the least you can offer. Because loving someone who does not see you is a lonely job, and they deserve to know that their work has not been wasted. They deserve to know that you are not oblivious. You are just human, and so are they. And maybe, just maybe, there is a third option. Maybe you do not know how you feel. Maybe everything I have said has cracked something open in you, and now you are sitting in a puddle of confusion and possibility, and you do not know whether what you are feeling is love or just the shock of finally being seen. If that is where you are, then do nothing dramatic, do not confess, do not reject, just observe. Just watch them the next time you are together. Watch the way they light up when you speak. Watch the way they angle their body toward you in a room full of people. Watch the way they remember things about you that you have forgotten yourself. Watch them the way they have been watching you and see if your heart does something it has not done before. See if the safety they offer starts to feel like a place you want to live in, rather than just a place you visit when your other options fall through. Give yourself permission to feel attracted to stability. Give yourself permission to want the person who is good for you, not just the person who is exciting to you. Give yourself permission to rewrite your definition of passion to include the devastating eroticism of being truly known. I am going to leave you with this. There is a moment that happens in every life, a moment when you realize that the thing you have been searching for has been in your pocket the entire time. It is a humbling moment. It is a moment that makes you feel foolish and grateful in equal measure. And it is a moment that changes everything, because once you see it, you cannot unsee it. The way home, the missing key, the love that was never missing, only hidden in plain sight. You are on the edge of that moment, Virgo. It might happen tonight, it might happen tomorrow. It might happen the next time they hand you a cup of coffee made exactly the way you like it, and instead of saying thank you and moving on, you look at their hands and you realize those hands have been building a life around you for months, maybe years, and all you have to do is step inside. You do not have to run, you do not have to chase, you do not have to perform or prove or earn what is already yours. You just have to see. You just have to let your eyes adjust to the light that has been shining on you this whole time and stop squinting toward the dark corners where your old wounds are still waiting to be picked at. The truth is here. It has always been here. And it loves you more than you have ever allowed yourself to imagine. So go now. Go gently. Go with your heart unclenched, just enough to let the warmth in. And when you see them next, really see them. Let them see that you see. That is all. That is the beginning. And if it is meant to be more, it will become more, not because you forced it, but because finally, both of you are standing in the same light, looking at each other with eyes wide open.